Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Diversity of Plant Zone. In this channel, you can find every video related to the plants and their diversity throughout the world. Before starting this video, I request you all to please subscribe my YouTube channel. This channel needs your support in the form of your feedbacks, comments, subscription and likes. Today's topic of my video is about morphology of leaf part 6. So today I am going to upload the last and the sixth part of this video. I'm trying my best to explain everything related to the plants and their diversity. I hope that you will like this video. So let's start the video. So today I will discuss about the functions of the leaf. Functions of the leaf. So leaves are of paramount importance as they are mainly responsible for the manufacture of food. Photosynthesis, as the process is called, is the main function of the leaf. So owing to the presence of chlorophyll, the green coloring pigment, the leaves can manufacture the complex organic matters, which are organic food matters, and that includes like the sugar and starch, out of water and carbon dioxide gas absorbed from the soil and air respectively with the aid of the sunlight. So leaves also carry on the respiration, an energy releasing process which involves the intake of the oxygen and outgoing of almost equal volume of the carbon dioxide. So all the living organs, of course, have this function. The third function of the leaf is transpiration. Transpiration or giving out of excess of water as water vapor. So plants usually absorb the water from the soil much in excess of their need. So besides these natural and normal functions, the leaves protect the axillary buds, often store up water and food matters, and perform the other special functions as well. They get rid of the surplus water by the transpiration. So next I'm going to discuss about the leaf mosaic. Leaf mosaic. So plants which are growing in the shady places with poor light exhibit a peculiar sort of the arrangement of leaves. And here all the leaves come up and arrange themselves side by side with a view to utilizing the maximum amount of this sunlight or light, and they form something like a mosaic. Hence they are called as the leaf mosaic. For example, in the oxalis, which is also known as the bee embryo, and garden nasturtium. So this is the leaf mosaic you can see in this figure. Now I am going to tell you about the definition of the leaf mosaic. It is usually the arrangement of the foliage in most plants, as in the common ivy, as such a pattern as to expose the maximum number of leaves to the direct rays of the sun with little loss of intervening space. So this is known as the leaf mosaic, as shown in this figure. So next time I'm going to discuss about the heterophyly. Heterophyly So the leaves of different forms are sometimes found on the same plant, and this condition is known as heterophyly. For example, heteros means different, and the phyla means leaves, and heterophyly is particularly noticed in the aquatic plants. For example, in the Sagittaria or arrowhead, a common water plant, has two kinds of leaves. First, the submerged ones, which are ribbon-like, whereas the aerial ones, which are sagittate or arrow-shaped. So many other aquatic plants bear the finely dissected submerged leaves and flat, expanded, floating or aerial leaves. So heterophilous condition in aquatic plants is an adaptation to the two different environmental conditions. So even in land plants often bear the different environmental conditions. Even land plants often bear the different types of the leaves, and leaves vary considerably in the shape in plants like the Pterospermum, and which is also known as the bee conic champa, and Artocarpus chaplasa, which is also known as the bee chaplas, or coriander, etc. So the first form leaves in the wood apple or Mamotica, which is also known as the bee, achi, etc., are quite different from the later formed ones. So, heterophyly, there are two conditions of the heterophyly in this figure. In the figure A, you can see this is the heterophyly in the larkspur. In the first figure, you can see that this is the juvenile leaf, and the next is the adult leaf. In the second figure B, you can see this is the heterophyly in buttercup. So first is the terrestrial habitat, the leaf of the terrestrial habitat, and second is the leaf of the aquatic habitat, as shown in this figure. Again, in heterophyly, this is the occurrence of the different types of the leaves in Limnophylla, and this is also called as heterophyly. In this figure, you can see these are the immersed or aerial leaf, and this is the flower bud. But next you can see that this is the submerged or aquatic leaf. So you can now very clearly differentiate between the immersed or aerial leaf and between the submerged or aquatic leaf, as shown in this figure. Again, in the heterophyly, this is the heterophyly in the Limnophylla. So first is the figure of the dissected underwater leaf, and second figure you can see that this is the normal aerial leaf, as shown in this figure. So next I'm going to discuss about the types of the heterophyly. Types of heterophyly. Heterophyly is a phenomena in which a plant possesses the two types of leaves, and there are about three types of the heterophyly, namely environmental, developmental, and habitual. So the first type of the heterophyly is the environmental heterophyly. So in this case of environmental heterophyly is seen in the semi-aquatic plants, and there are about two types of leaves, one on the upper surface and other on the lower surface. The underwater leaves are thin and lack the stomata. The aerial leaves are thick and they have stomata. An example of environmental heterophyly includes the limnophylla. Second type of the heterophyly is developmental heterophyly. So in this case, in developmental heterophyly, the leaves are different in size and shapes at different phases of the growth. Then the third type of the heterophyly, which is called as habitual heterophyly. So in habitual heterophyly, the leaves are different in shapes at the different positions of the plants. Next, I am going to discuss about the difference between the simple and compound leaves. So, difference between the simple and compound leaves. First, I will discuss the simple leaves and then I will discuss the compound leaves. So, in simple leaves, the lamina is not divided into separate lobes or leaflets. But in the compound leaves, the lamina is divided into two or more leaflets which may either arise at the tip of the petiole or on the sides of the rachis. So in simple leaves, a bud lies in its axil. On the other hand, in the compound leaves, a bud lies in the axil of the whole leaf, but the individual leaflets do not bear the axillary buds. So, in the simple leaves, the base of the leaf may have stipules, but in the compound leaves, the stipules may occur at the base of the whole leaf, but corresponding structures are absent at the base of the leaflets, exception being. In the simple leaves may be borne in one or more planes, but in the compound leaves, the leaflets of a compound leaf are always borne in one plane. So in the simple leaves are just produced on the stem in an acropetal succession. On the other hand, in the compound leaves, the leaflets of the compound leaf develop almost simultaneously. Next, I am going to discuss the difference between the pinnate compound leaf and branch with the simple leaves. So, these are the differences between the pinnate compound leaf and branch with the simple leaves. So first I will discuss about the pinnate compound leaf and then the branch with the simple leaves. So in pinnate compound leaf, it bears a lateral bud in its axil, but in the branch with the simple leaves, an axillary bud is absent. In pinnate compound leaf, the leaf does not develop from an axillary bud, but in the branch with the simple leaves, the branch usually develops from an axillary bud. In pinnate compound leaf, a leaf does not arise in the axil of an structure, but in the branch with the simple leaves, a branch arises in the axil of a leaf. In the pinnate compound leaf, the pinnate compound leaf may bear the two lateral stipules at its base, but in the branch with the simple leaves, no stipules are present at the base of the branch. In the pinnate compound leaf, stipules are not found at the bases of the leaflets of a compound leaf, but in the branch with the simple leaves of a branch may bear the stipules at their bases. In the pinnate compound leaf, the buds are not present in the axils of the leaflets, but in the branch with the simple leaves of a branch bear the axillary buds. In pinnate compound leaf, the compound leaf has limited growth, but in the branch with the simple leaves, the growth of the branch is generally unlimited. In pinnate compound leaf, only a fixed number of the leaflets are borne on a compound leaf, but in the branch with the simple leaves, the number of the leaves produced on a branch are unlimited. So in pinnate compound leaf, the compound leaf does not possess a terminal bud, but in the branch with the simple leaves, a branch possesses a terminal bud. In pinnate compound leaf, a compound leaf ends in one or more leaflets, but in the branch with the simple leaves, a branch does not possess a terminal leaf or leaflet. So in pinnate compound leaf, the base of the leaf may be swollen or pulvinate, for example in the Cassia acacia. But in the branch with the simple leaves, the base of a branch is never pulvinate. So in pinnate compound leaf, the nodes and internodes are absent on the rachis of a pinnate compound leaf. On the other hand, in the branch with the simple leaves, nodes and internodes are distinctly present on a branch bearing the simple leaves. In pinnate compound leaf, all the leaflets lie in a single plane, but in the branch with the simple leaves, the leaves may be present in different planes. In pinnate compound leaf, the leaflets are not produced in acropetal succession, but in the branch with the simple leaves, the leaves of a branch are produced in an acropetal succession. In pinnate compound leaf, during the leaf fall, the rachis also falls down after the shedding of the leaflets. But in the branch with the simple leaves, the branch seldom falls, only leaves wither and fall down. In pinnate compound leaf, it does not bear the flowers, but the branch with the simple leaves, a branch may have the flowers. So next I am going to discuss about the difference between the pinnate and palmate compound leaves. So in pinnate compound leaves, first I will discuss the pinnate compound leaves and then I will discuss the palmate compound leaves. In pinnate compound leaves, it has a feather-like outline. In palmate compound leaf, the leaf resembles the palm of a hand. In pinnate compound leaf, the leaflets are borne on an elongated axis, but in palmate compound leaf, the leaflets are attached to a common point. In pinnate compound leaf, the leaflets bearing axis is a continuation of petiole or a branch of midrib. On the other hand, in palmate compound leaf, the leaflet bearing the point represents the tip of the petiole. In pinnate compound leaf, the leaflets occur in two rows. In palmate compound leaf, all the leaflets are clustered together. In pinnate compound leaf, a joint is not present between the leaflet and its axis. On the other hand, in palmate compound leaf, a joint is usually found between the leaflet and its point of attachment. So next I am going to discuss about the comparison chart between the simple leaves and compound leaves. This is a comparison chart between the simple and compound leaves. So first I will discuss the properties of the simple leaves and compound leaves. The first property is the meaning. So meaning of the simple leaves is, simple leaves are the type of the leaves where each leaf is attached to the main stem via the petiole. So compound leaves are the type of the leaves where many leaflets are attached to the main stem via the rachis. So second property is the attachment to the stem's node. In simple leaves, the leaves are directly attached to the stem's node via the petiole. So in compound leaves, the leaflets are connected to the stem's node via a short stem that is called as rachis. So the next property is the stipules. In simple leaves, the stipules are present at the leaf axil. So in compound leaves, the stipules are present at the junction between the petiole and stem's node. Next property is the lateral bud. In simple leaves, all the leaves bear the lateral bud at their base, but in compound leaves, the leaflets do not bear the lateral buds at their base. So the next property is the leaf blade deviance. In simple leaves, the leaf lamina is generally single or undivided, but the leaf margins may possess some depressions. In the compound leaves, the leaf lamina is typically divided into multiple leaflets. So the next property is the inscience on the leaf lamina. So in simple leaves, the inscience do not reach the midrib, but in the compound leaves, the inscience are deep enough to reach the midrib. Next property is the lamina size. In simple leaves, the lamina size is broad, but in the compound leaves, the lamina size is small. Next property is the arrangement of leaves. In simple leaves, the leaves are arranged in acropital succession, but in the compound leaves, there is no such arrangement. Next property is the symmetry. In the simple leaves, the leaves develop in one or more planes, but in the compound leaf, the leaflets grow in a one-plane symmetry. The examples of the simple and compound leaves are the next property. So the examples of the simple leaves are oak, banana, mango, maple leaves, etc. But the examples of the compound leaf includes the rose, clover, neem, buckeye leaves, etc. So next I am going to discuss about the pinnate versus the palmate. So this is the pinnate versus the palmate. First I will discuss the pinnate and then I will discuss the palmate. In pinnate, a condition of compound leaves with the twig connected petioles of varying lengths and rows of the smaller sub-leaves above the axil. But in the palmate, a condition of the compound leaves having the leaflets form and radiate from a single point of attachment called the distal end of the petiole or rachis. So, in the pinnate, consists of the twig connected to the petioles of the varying lengths, but in the palmate, the lobes originate from one point at the end of the petiole. In pinnate, resembles a feather containing the rows of the smaller subleaves above the axil. So in the palmate, it contains the three or more lobes or veins arising from a common point. In pinnate, contains the branching veins from the midrib, but in palmate contains the veins radiating from a single point. In pinnate, the examples are the leaves of the walnut, pecan, ash, tree, and neem, etc. The examples of the palmate include the leaves are poisonous or poison ivy, buckeye, horse, and chestnut, silk, and cotton, etc. So next I am going to discuss about the difference between the reticulate and parallel venation. This is the difference between the reticulate and parallel venation. First I will discuss the reticulate venation and then I will discuss the parallel venation. So in the reticulate venation, when the veins of a leaf are arranged in a net-like pattern on the both sides of the midrib, then it is called as reticulate venation. So in the parallel venation, when veins of the leaf runs parallel to one another from the base to the tip of the leaf, then it is called as parallel venation. In reticulate venation, the reticulate venation is a characteristic feature of dicot plants, but the parallel venation is the characteristic feature of monocot plants. So in reticulate venation, the interconnected veins are present, which form a web-like network, but in the parallel venation, parallelly running secondary veins are present, which are perpendicular to the primary vein. In the reticulate venation, the veins lying interconnected, but in the parallel venation, In the parallel venation, the veins of the leaves do not touch one another. In reticulate venation, it occurs in the hibiscus, mango, ficus or mango leaf, tulsi leaf, jack tree leaf, rose plant leaf, coriander leaf, mint and brinjal leaf. On the other hand, the parallel venation occurs in the bamboo, banana, wheat, maize, grasses or the bamboo leaf, paddy leaf, and arecanut, palm leaf, arecanut, palm leaf, coconut tree leaf, banana leaf, and lily, and in wheat. So next time I'm going to discuss about the similarities between simple and compound leaf. These are the similarities between the simple and compound leaves. So, the simple and compound leaves are common in dicot plants. Both the forms of leaves carry out the photosynthetic activity. Simple and compound leaves may undergo the adaptations and modifications according to the changing environmental and different habitats. Leaf lamina and petiole are the common structures in both types of leaves, and both possesses the bud on a twig. If you like my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and press the bell icon as well for further notifications. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for your time and appreciation.